Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? It's been a while. Hopefully, no one's been on the edge of their seat waiting for this, because it has been a while. Hey, BlueVoices, how you doing? Great to have you here. Yeah, it's been way too long. Just like Clara, you've risen from the grave to be here. Yeah, I haven't seen you around in a while, so it's good to have you back. Clara drew you back in, right? Sick of that Yakuza stuff. No, it's good to finally have the energy and the drive to play this again. Chaotic last 2 weeks, yeah, I feel ya. It's been much the same for me. I'm doing better now. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's been a rocky month really for me. But ready to do this. With the energy that I managed to wake up with this morning somehow. I don't know where that came from, but I'm just glad I have it. So we're on the very, very start of day 3, 2 in the morning I think it is, and we really just need to sort out. Clara's quite hungry, so we need to sort that out. So we'll do that first. Do I have any girl boss gun to victory? Yeah, we should probably also find a girl boss gun today. So far, all Clara has is her psychic force powers. Nothing else. Which I mean is still like incredibly broken, but fresh meat. Got enough of these. Get a thing of fresh meat. I'm pretty sure that's the most restorative food item in the whole game. I might be wrong about that. It's one of. It's been a while, and we'll see if the butcher has anything to sell in here. He's also got fresh meat and an egg. I've got more than enough money to spare at the moment. Be eating those words later, but words don't drop my hunger meter, so I have to spend them. Spend the money. Drop that instead. Okay. Now, did he give me a quest? Yeah. So we're going after Anna Angel at the request of Sabarov. And hopefully we can say the right things in order to get her to tell us all of her dark and miserable secrets. But we'll just do a little bit of burglar hunting before we go in there. Combat in this game, yeah, especially as Changeling, is really quite easy. Although I'm trying to think, the Bachelor had some really nasty side quests, right? And I can't remember off the top of my head if Clara had any like that, like the one where the Bachelor's got to run through that huge warehouse. That was a really challenging one, and so was the one where Bachelor has to kill the Hunchback outside the abattoir, which is also really difficult. Okay, so oh, how sore I am. My throat and my eyes are burning with sand. The ground underneath me is crumbling. I'd give anything for a drop of water. You can get water from a spring and purchase a bottle in a shop. Easy. Oh, I wouldn't make it to a shop. Rumor has it they're full of sweet nothing anyway. Should have hoarded all I need in advance. Had I known where I would fall, I wouldn't have had to come to that place at all. Which means, in your case, you don't belong anywhere. Okay. I'll give all my water to you. And you, can you give me something to stop the bleeding? I'm injured, you see. You don't even have any bandages. What a rip-off. No wonder you're not going to the shops. Can't be trusted. So yeah, I'll just try and get my bearings again, because I'm trying to remember exactly when it was I played this last. Was it at the end of July, or was it even longer ago than that? It really, tried a bunch of different things out, and otherwise just been very tired. But yeah, nice to be back. All right, let's just go see Anna and see what she wants. See, what's going on in her head.
Hard.
Life is hard, yeah. I noticed. Ah, you're so pale. Would you like to use my rouge? You look like you're about to tell me something. You have such a mischievous sparkle in your eyes. I'm going to whisper something in your ear. Lean over so you could hear. Well, speak now. Simon is alive. Fully alive, do you understand? Ava's told me secretly. How can she know? The Bachelor has Ava completely under his thumb. She's like a slave to him now, but she also knows his secrets. And guess what? He's colluded with Stark Reuben, an apprentice of Issidor's, a surgeon and former mercenary. Together, they're now hiding Simon from the Canes, making it look like he's dead. I wonder if Simon himself is part of that plot. Yes, I think so. Must be a reason the three of them are doing this, and their goals are probably evil. What else could they be? In a town like this, I don't blame you for coming to that conclusion. I'm very scared of this Bachelor. I feel that he's a demon, a spirit of destruction and downfall. I like this answer, but I'm going to say, why are you telling me this? If you need to check if Ava's telling the truth, do check, and afterwards inform the Canes about that newcome Bachelor. Do you understand how that will change your life? They'll stop persecuting you. You'll gain their favours and earn a lot of money. Or perhaps you don't care about money at all. I do. Everyone needs money. Okay. Ava knows where the Bachelor will be found. If Anna was telling the truth, then I'll be able to unveil the true nature of this messenger clad in snakeskin. Okay. Can we talk to her again before we leave?
It'll all work out when the regular train comes.
Yes, I can. So this is one of the things that this game does that tries to trick you, right? Is that it sort of seemed like those two top options were sort of together, right? And that if you picked one, it would naturally follow the same dialogue tree because we're trying to get information from Anna. And when the dialogue ends, I almost assumed that that's the quest I need, but the fact that the quest popped up in the side quest bar, right, means that there's more dialogue to engage with here. And the game does this as well in the Bachelor's route. I think I talked about it then. Particularly with Vlad the Younger, because you need Vlad to tell you where Reuben is, but he gives you a side quest first, and if you don't talk to him again, you naturally do the whole side quest, and then come back, and then get Reuben's location, which is the way it's probably supposed to work and be designed, but no, we're too clever for that, right? I've come to you on behalf of my protector, and father. He wants to know more about you than he does now. Oh, so now I'm on Sabarov's list of undesirables too. Truly I'm being targeted by all of the powers that be. I'd never expect that from Sabarov, a firmly principled man, and an old neighbour of mine. And in the meantime, the Olgimskis have been utterly terrorising me. I was even going to plead for his protection. And what's the Olgimskis' problem with you? Oh, I do know what it's about. There's this local usurer. He'll tell you later how I'm involved here. So Tough Vlad decided to pocket his blood. Big Vlad's got a lot of nicknames. Pocket his blood money. Vlad himself had to pay up. Had to pay up. Quite heftily. He transferred the funds to your new father yesterday. But what does that have to do with you? We'll come to that, my dear. The hunchback refused to give Vlad the money. So Vlad said he'd find a way to bring him to heel. Pressure someone who could reveal all the skeletons in the hunchback's closet. That was a direct hint at me. Vlad had found out about my involvement with the hunchback. But it's hardly something that Alexander wanted to find out. Please, my dear, save me from those infernal Olgimskis. Vlad is terribly, unbelievably cruel. He can't control his anger. He can smash an oak table into splinters. He can condemn hundreds of people to torture just to quench his own fury. Help me and I'll be completely open with you. Find out if Big Vlad is scheming against me. Would he really threaten you? Yes. He thinks I'm easy to handle because of how I acted yesterday. And today there was this threatening message saying I'll soon die the same death as others who, well, no need to go into the vapid lies that follow. Signed, Look Back. I love how she decides to just sort of truncate the message here, which indicates that maybe not everything in there is vapid lies. Signed, Look Back. Do you have any idea how scary that is? How am I supposed to talk to him? He won't even let me pass the door. My words can't pierce walls. Well, think of something. You'll surely manage. I sense an angelic power in you. I, of course, would have used his children to get to him, but they're already grown up, and I wouldn't be able to handle them at this point. But you will. Used as children, that sounded sinister. She's going to think that, but she's actually going to say, well, I'll grant you that wish. I'm whispering no if it's for you now. Got to get in her good books. Anna is afraid of Vlad the Heavy, the head of the Olgimsky household. He wouldn't want to meet me, that's for sure. His children, though, Capella and Vlad the Younger, might trade their words with me. See, Big Vlad gets all these nicknames, and Vlad the Younger is just, not quite as impressive, right? Guess it makes sense for the most powerful person in town to have multiple names so people can hide who they're talking about. So he doesn't go after them? True. Sort of like, oh no, I meant the other Vlad, the Vlad down the street. I didn't, he's tough Vlad, you're Big Vlad, right? Yeah. And hey, Yaveost, I don't know why it's getting you to read the rules every single time. I thought that was only meant to be a one-time thing, but it's alright, as long as you got the rules under your cap, that's great. Hope you're doing good, everyone. And nice to see you as well, Noskita. Yaveost is known for breaking those rules. Come back here. This animation is so slow. I like it, but it's just it makes the combat go much. Combat in scare quotes there, but makes the combat go much slower. Yaveost, the wild card, eh? Yeah, BlueVoices has been doing a good job with that. Yeah, the trusted wielder of the fabled girl boss gun. We love to see it. Hello. No bandages, that's fine. Okay. So yeah, gonna go talk to Capella, whom Clara describes as her peer, which makes sense. And again, just a little bit of appreciation for this room in particular. I mean, what an amazing little bedroom, right? Just stunning tapestry, banners on the walls, absurd curtains, this plant that sort of appears in a number of houses, and then just this fountain here. Spectacular decor and design. And then that painting there is also very cool. Okay, sorry, I was just admiring your abode. It's much nicer than my room, I gotta say. Hello, girl with eyes that look like they're eager to take in the entire world. Who are you? It's my new title, that's for sure. An owner of a pair of healing hands. You may call me Clara. Why do I feel we have something in common, something important that's hard to miss, as if we were siblings? What is it? Then tell me, what is your purpose in life? I'd like to give the children a new life and a new faith. Indeed, then you must be the Holy One. Then you two are a prophetess and a harbinger, and you're saying that you're going to gather a congregation and give them the light of a new truth? Which truth will it be? Tell me, girls with eyes out of which a dead woman is looking at me already. I love just Clara strikes back with this huge response. I'm not saying I want to start with a new church. I must have phrased it badly. You simply don't understand how good my intentions are. I know, sister, don't be alarmed by the things I say. It's just that what you're talking about is too dangerous. It's not to be toyed with, even if you're just children.
I feel a current in my veins.
So it is interesting how we have this introductory conversation with every character that sort of establishes probably the ongoing dynamic between the character that you're playing as and the character who you're speaking to, and how that differs from the other characters that you can play as and their relationships to said character. And it's interesting how once you finish that conversation, it snaps you into the next one, whereas other times it won't snap you back into the conversation if there's more to say, as I observed before. It's an interesting distinction. You'd sort of almost imagine that they wouldn't have coded it like that, and the player would have to recognize, oh, that was the intro conversation, let me keep talking to them. But This one is probably more elegant. Oh, all the pain, all the pity, all the abysmal depth in your eyes. Speak fast, please. I do not know why, but being close to you feels oppressive. Don't be angry with me. I'd like to do something good for you, so that we could become friends. Really? Do you want to do something nice for me? I don't even know what to say. You know, sometimes I feel that there is no one better and kinder than you in the whole world, and that whatever you might do would be good, even for me. That I didn't realize I was that persuasive, but okay. Total 180. Good old mystical powers. Sometimes you feel differently, don't you? Yes, sometimes I feel as though you and I were enemies. Yeah, you said that just before, and you're a very dangerous enemy, seeing as you're not human. What am I saying? Got a headache, sorry. It's all this terrible air. You know, that's what I say to people all the time, you know, if I've got a headache, just, my enemy, you're a very dangerous enemy. I just, you know, you're not human. You know, I see clay people everywhere I go, you know, that's just because I got a headache. It's fine, don't worry about me. You're just like Maria, only a little kinder, but generally the same. But no, I'd like to do something for you regardless. You know, I've told the Bachelor to go to Skinner's, which is the disease hotbed. A little boy named Loafer was going to test a toxic powder there, but I still haven't heard from the Bachelor. Perhaps he didn't find the boy. I see. Would you like me to find the Bachelor? Or Loafer? The Bachelor would be better. He is, after all, the more responsible one. Ask him if he's tracked down the boy and managed to take that horrible mixture away from him. Alright, I'll ask him when I meet him. Okay, so that's another side quest. Go see young Vlad and see what he wants first. Oh, sorry, Yoverst, I missed your, it's almost a perfect copy of the Sistine Chapel, minus the stray dogs. Noted. No, I haven't, can't say I've been to the Sistine Chapel, but nice to know that I've got a digital replica, minus the stray dogs. Me when I have the common cold. Get out of my face before I skin you and use your flesh to whip up a spicy stew. Oh no, don't mind me. That's just the kind of stuff I say when, you know, I got a little sniffle, you know. I'm a bit clogged up, you know how it is. Just threaten murder and violence when that happens. God, it's terrible, you know. I'm so rude when I'm sick. Nothing in here. I suspect I probably looted these last time I played it. But no harm in checking again. No harm at all. Nope. And nope. Okay, here. Feels like I did. Loot them all. That's alright. I reset at midnight every day, I think. There's a robber. Let me just save the game. Because no matter how easy the game's combat is, bad things can still happen because of random circumstances. And ordinarily I wouldn't save like that, but I don't want to have to repeat entire conversations on stream. I'm fairly certain that guy wasn't a robber. He was just like he was just a knife salesman. He didn't even really advance on me. He was just like standing there like, you see how sharp this knife is? It could be yours for only... And Clara's just murdering him with mind powers. Hello.
It will all work out when a regular train comes.
What do you want, girl? To peer into my deep well? No, not really. Tell me, Vlad Ogimsky, do you know Anna Angel well? Well enough, by small town standards. Tell me who she is, then. A fugitive actress from the Aces of Diamonds, she took up residence at the Willows and proceeded to remove the owners of that charming house from this world. A celebrity indeed. Though actually, I've never sought intimacy with her. In fact, I only remembered about her yesterday, in connection with the medicine commandeering business. Why? Here's what I wanted to ask. Is it true that your father has been threatening this actress? What? And this is what you've come to ask me about? That's absurd. Our family doesn't care about this Anna. Well, didn't, until yesterday. But that's about her possessions, not her person. Possessions, I might add, that she'd obtained under very shady circumstances. And here's the result. She's making up imaginary enemies now. Why is she so afraid of your father, then? It can't be on account of the commandeering yesterday. She's afraid of the smallest noise now, and no surprise. A life of fear is the price she's paying for the horror she once helped unleash. You do know about the caravan, don't you? No, I know nothing about the caravan. Say, you must be from far away indeed. A few years ago, the Ace of Diamonds caravan was all that the entire country was talking about. That was a bunch of especially scary criminals who were committing savage and senseless atrocities while posing as a wandering circus. They were famous for kidnapping children. Why did they do all that? That's the worst part. Had they done it for profit, their actions, however abominable, could at least have been explained, but their motives were a mystery. They take the best and leave disfigured freaks in their place, and the children would become performers with their caravan. What do they need those children for? To replenish their troop. They were collectors. Do you realize how the Canes must have hated them? The caravan turned up at the exact same time our children had settled at the polyhedron, and the Canes saw that they had given the little ones of the town a magical childhood. The caravan stood at the opposite pole, as it were, a challenge, a mockery, a reminder for Nina and Simon. And the Canes know about Anna's connection to the caravan? Well, it hasn't been proved yet, but the day they find out will be the last day of her life, I have no doubt about it. The caravan is a boogeyman that the Canes hate with a passion. A punishment by the government would be a walk in the park compared to the scourges that the Canes used to call down upon them. Could it be that the Canes have found out about Anna and are threatening her now? If it is so, then it can only be one particular Cane, the weakest and temporarily paralysed one. The others wouldn't stoop to threats, they'd act right away. Who is it then? Caspar, also known as Khan. Victor and Nina's son and black-eyed Maria's little brother. My sister will tell you all about him. They were friends for a while. At one point, our parents even considered arranging their marriage despite the age difference, but they were too incompatible. Thanks for your advice. I'll talk to your sister.
Did you hear that?
I don't really want to talk to you again. Your well does not interest me. Whoa, 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 I said I'm slashing prices, not you. Dies from near the magic touch. But the last things that were going through his head were damn my quality merchandise. I can't believe it. Why'd I have to agree to sell this stuff? Stupid pyramid scheme. Bad grief got me out here. Selling knives. Could be at home. But no. Alright, so we'll wander back to Capella and we'll see if she has anything more to say. Otherwise, we're going to engage with the side quests, which I think are both over this. Oh no, right, we got to go see Ava. But we already know where the Bachelor is technically. But I suppose Ava will be able to help us narrow it down, possibly. He's just that kind of guy, right?
Is it really lethal?
I've come to you with a very important task. If you answer my question, I won't bother you anymore for now. Tell me, is your father threatening Anna? Oh, for how much longer are you all going to torture my father? No, he is not to blame for anything. Anything whatsoever. Remember it, in case anyone points the finger at him in the future. Why did I only give him my word? That's a very serious and abrupt denial, but yep. Someone's been sending anonymous threatening letters to Anna. She's convinced your father wants to punish her for something. He doesn't care about this Anna at all, but I suppose he's going to start now. Anonymous threats, ways to slander him. Thank you for telling me. I'll strangle this Anna myself, the viper, with my own hands. BlueVoices, Big Vlad did nothing wrong. We got Separov apology and Big Vlad apology. Who will win? Strangle this Anna myself, the viper, with my own hands, but who could be sending her those letters? They're signed Look Back. What did you say? Look Back? I think I'm beginning to see now. Anna must have really been involved with the caravan, which makes Khan the most likely writer of the letters. So that's why they all suddenly assembled at the polyhedron 5 days ago and wouldn't leave. They had heard of the seeds of the caravan sprouting in the town. Small wonder. I don't get it. Who assembled at the polyhedron? A while ago, all of the town's children darted for the tower on the other side, like sheep from a wolf. There was mention of the caravan back then, but I didn't make too much of it. So Anna is afraid that her past will surface. A guilty mind is never at ease. And Khan had actually found out. And so And so now, of course, he wants to kill her because of the caravan. His dogheads must have been prowling about the town looking for people with caravan connections. Now they know, but the epidemic has struck in the meantime. As soon as he pulls himself together after his grandfather's death and is done setting up the polyhedron's defenses, he will surely dispatch a revenge squad to Anna. And why had the news of caravan fugitives frightened the children so much? We know this already, Clara, but fine. Basically, they used to abduct children. It is said they brought them up as actors in order to attract new audiences. They picked the best. But now, so many years later, there have been so many legends, so many ballads and scary stories about them that no one remembers the truth anymore. In the children's ears, the word caravan is simply synonymous with a maddening and inescapable horror. By the way, Anna has an accomplice, the hunchback. Khan will give her no peace regardless. In his mind, even a single living caravan actor is a being who will sow and spread the seeds of this senseless monstrosity, like an infection of sorts. Really though, what was the point of the whole plan? They probably had something else in mind too. No, nothing. They travelled the country, acting, singing, performing stunts and tricks. They took bright children and left ugly ones on doorsteps as replacements, like changelings. They were leaving fear, grief, hatred and monsters in their wake, while themselves becoming ever more alluring, beautiful, attractive and memorable. But despite that, people were growing more and more afraid of them. It's a very clear picture of an imaginary evil, an evil that really only pretends to be evil. What is real evil then? Nothingness, the absence of feeling and colour. If a caravan like that never existed, that would be the real evil. Why are you arguing this, Clara? Yes, you do sound like you know what you're talking about. Who are you, Clara? Answer me. Whatever I told you now, you wouldn't believe me. Don't be so afraid of me. You didn't think a miracle maker would look like this, did you? That will soon pass. Very eerie thing to say, Clara. Tiny Vlad pulled the strings, Big Vlad took the blame. Yo-Yo's enormous Vlad was the true brains behind the throne. Yeah, Nosikta, yeah, you're right. If he didn't act like a dick all the time, none of this would have happened. You're quite right. And I do like to imagine that Yoverse, the townsfolk's nickname process for Big Vlad just gets more and more absurd over time. Like Big Vlad, Huge Vlad, Enormous Vlad, Titanic Vlad. He'll become a myth like the caravan. Okay. Actually, what I might do, it's still really early, so I'm going to wander over and see Ova first and see if she has anything to say to me. But yeah, no, it's always quite amazing how the architecture of this town really remains, for the most part, really fixed in my head. If I'm not mistaken, Colossal Vlad is the one holding up the earth on his shoulders, right? I think that's right. You've really got to look. I think you wrote that up on your wiki, right? The Horror Game Analysis wiki. Colossal Vlad, yeah. The one who makes the world go round. Pathologic is actually about watching the downfall of a local cattle magnate. Yeah, that's all there is to it. No deeper metaphor or anything to look for. You're just meant to feel sorry for the local cattle magnate as all of his carefully laid plans and classism collapse around his ears. Where's my Pathologic drama show? Succession, Dynasty. It's like, yeah, a show about Pathologic that completely ignores anything about the plague, and it's just about managing the local cattle business. What a show! So yeah, but they got to make Pathologic kart racing first. That's what I always said. Did that burglar try and throw the knife at the lady across the river? And they randomly detect a path up here? Yeah. Come back here. Why do they detect a... The AI in this game is just beautiful. Come back. They're just running like down this like sheer hill. It really is, yeah. This is what the game is. This is what the game is all about. Don't run back that way. There's another murderer. Ow. Demonstrations of Morrowind pathfinding with and without patches. There are many people who compare this original Pathologic right to Morrowind, and just watching the way that they walk around, I think you can see why. Okay, got you. Don't have any bandages. Good, yes, I got my usual absurd number of bandages. Okay. I assume either she's... no, did he get her? Yep, look at him run straight up the hill. Come, stop. What are you doing? It does. This is... All the tracks from this district are amazing, to be honest. I think a lot of people, judging by how much they interact with, like, the videos on the music ones on my channel, yeah, this Utroba main and Utroba night are really, really popular. Next to the bar theme, I think. Those are the ones that get the most views. Combat also feels similar to me at least, and I think that's one of the reasons I actually really like the combat in Classic HD. Yeah, people go a bit too hard on the combat in this game. I think you know, it's pretty easy to break for sure because the AI isn't very good, but it's still enjoyable nonetheless. Particularly, yeah, if you're playing as Clara, who doesn't even have to like step in, do the step in, step out, dodge stuff that Dankovsky and Artemy have to do. They can just she can just stand back and let them slowly advance on her. It's sort of the chaos that it would be if the game had Oblivion NPC conversations. That would be amazing. Just all of them having like these really stilted conversations about the polyhedron. Like, what do you think the children will be coming out of the polyhedron anytime soon? Yeah, I don't know why you're asking me. I think the best Oblivion response from any of the NPCs is always when they just cough really loudly. Heard any news from the other districts? And they just sort of cough really awkwardly. Delightful. I don't know how they... It's a shame they didn't put that... Have you heard of the Odong? Yeah. It's a shame they didn't put that kind of conversation stuff in the other... Well, in Skyrim. And the same kind of routine stuff. It'd be cool if the Kin used the step language, though. It would, yeah. It would be cool if we did have stuff like that. But sadly, the game just is not high budget enough for that. People don't seem to support these kinds of games enough, sadly. And they closed. I can't believe Ice Pick Lodge closed their merchandise store. Very sad day.
My bedroom is warmer than this place.
I know it's made up, but I want to learn it. It's amazing that there are like so many learnable like fictional languages. I think it's amazing, and it's amazing that games and films and other texts can inspire that kind of respect for it, that the universe is so immersive that you want to bring a part of that universe into reality, even if you don't have anyone to speak it to. It'd still be cool, right? It's like an active devotion to do that kind of thing. Shows your respect for the game and the universe. Sorry, Ava, I was talking to somebody else. I know you. I've seen you in a dream. You're Clara, but you really have the face of someone who's hounded. Have they frightened you? Hardly. What's your name? Ava Yarn. And you must be here to see The Bachelor. Goodness no. That's an encounter I hope I'll be spared.
What?
Except, I mean, you've already met him, but why have you come? What do you want from me? Ava, sweet Ava, tell me, where has your Daniil gone? With the head snap there across the side. He's working. He's fighting the sand plague with selfless abandon. He's here and there, setting up the town's defences against the disease, going round and assigning tasks, inquiring, gathering materials, observing, reflecting. He's preparing to quell the disease and stop the epidemic. Does he know a man named Reuben? That would be out of line for me to ask, Clara. Reuben has vanished under mysterious circumstances. Some people say the Shabnak killed him so that she could devour Simon's body. Others say Reuben himself. Well, people say lots of different things. Why are you asking? Because he's in danger, Ava. And our angel wants to inform on him. I must warn him. He's in the warehouses now, on the north side, at Reuben's secret dissecting room. Gave that up pretty quick. Nobody knows he's there. He strictly forbade me to tell anyone. I myself don't know which warehouse the secret place is at. That's fine, I'll find him there. Secrets like these are never much of a secret. Alrighty. That was pretty easy. I guess it makes sense. Ava is the kind of character who would sort of be like, but he's in danger. And she's like, oh, no, that's no good. Okay, I'll give you his location so that you, the trusted savior whom I was just introduced to 5 seconds ago, may go and save them. But you know, I've got a pretty positive reputation around here at the moment. There's no reason why she wouldn't trust me. I can do miracles if people let me. It's not frequently that they allow me to, because sometimes the game just kills them when I click over the body that I'm supposed to heal. They just spontaneously die because Clara decides to launch her psychic attack. Would the Bachelor as an NPC just randomly speak Latin at people? Yeah, there'd be a random number generator attached to his dialogue line picker, and half the lines would be in Latin, and the other half would be in English or Russian or whatever language you're playing the game in. So you just get random full sentences of Latin here and there, and the other person would probably have to have some appropriate response for that. He's just minding his own business. I don't even know why he's outside at the moment, to be honest. Like, is he just coming home from work? All the industries have shut down. Guess he was probably out drinking. This is really sad. Come on. Oh no, you got him. The Bachelor also runs a science build. He gets demolished in every fight and is killed first in every tournament. He tries, that's the important thing. He shows up to town. Just like that cutscene where he goes into the abattoir and he's like, wow, I'm finally inside. And then like a bunch of butchers surround him and one of them just tackles him and starts beating the shit out of him. That's what would happen, right? If you just sort of like somehow simulated the town without having any players in it. The Bachelor would just constantly just begin the shit beaten out of him. But he tries, that's the important thing. He tries. And that's why I can relate to him. Okay, here we go.
What is this disease?
What? Have you come here to intimidate me? Who are you, Clara the Harbinger? What do you want? And yeah, I should have acknowledged. Yeah, that was another victim to Grief's horrible scheme where he gets innocent men to go out and sell knives in shady corners, in the dark. And sometimes they get overzealous with their knife selling. They're like, look how sharp it is, and then the person's dead, and that's not their fault. They're just they're new to the job, but no one's perfect. Why are you getting so riled up? I just wanted to say my farewell to Simon. He's in here, isn't he? What? Who told you Simon was here? And wasn't he? Wasn't it you and the Bachelor who examined his body trying to establish the cause of his death? Looks like there's a whole conspiracy going on here. That's true. But Simon's body has been stolen. Do you understand? He's not where I examined him anymore. True, except for the false part. Is that how you always lie? Raubin? Don't do it. You're rather bad at it. Childishly bad. That's quite a sentence, isn't it? True, except for the false part. Mm-hmm. That's how lies work. Yep. Stop. Don't say anything. I'll give you some vials if you don't inform on me. They help. You won't fall sick. Do you get that? What kind of vials? A special kind. Vaccines. I'm going to make a few hundred and give them to Issidor's apprentices to distribute to the people so that no one gets ill. If the cemetery is reopened, they'll deliver them to the kin. I agree, except for the wrong parts. Absolutely. That's exactly the same vibe that you get. If it isn't, they'll give it to the people, to everyone, so that there's enough for all. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to inform on you. You'll suffer enough as it is. Yes, that's enough suffering for you. Cool, 2 vaccines. Simon may still be alive, even though my heart tells me that this is no real life, even if this is what the cruel-hearted bachelor would likely call it. This is not a life for me, for there is no longer warmth in it. Shall I surrender the 2 cynics to the Canes then? No, you gave me the vaccines. Not going to turn him in for that. Okay, so now we can go back to Anna's place, have a chat about the caravan, and then we could potentially go have a look around the infected district to see if we can find the bachelor. There's no marker that was... Oh no, there is a marker, yeah. The bachelor could be in this house, okay. There's a marker there, so we don't have to wander aimlessly, which is what I'm always worried about in this game, is having to wander aimlessly around the infected district for any extended period of time. Amazing how they still managed to make it feel like successfully really dangerous, even though I've played it so many times. It's that element of randomness, I suppose, that really gets me. You can never tell when and where a plague cloud exactly is going to appear. And even though there are some reliable ways of dodging them, you can't outrun them all. Which is why, yeah, as the Bachelor, I was infected in my previous streamed playthrough, and no doubt Clara will befall the same fate. She's currently not infected now. I don't think, not yet. But that could change very quickly. Okay, we got a lot of money again. We'll see if this person is selling anything. Hello. Nice storefront you got here. Like the scale. Very clean. Nice, just health inspectoring is a nice bin. You got a bin, alright. Yeah. That's good. Thank goodness he's not like an Oblivion character, who if you're like wandering around the shop, they will like follow you because they're convinced that you're a thief. Even if you're playing as like the hero of the entire land, I just remember just being stalked by people through their own shops. A remarkable horror game experience. No one trusts you. So this is the same conversation as before, except I said the town will have more stockpiles and hoards than people soon. Hey there, get your little hands away from me. You're clapping dish at the wrong man's door. I know your type. Salvation of this town is in my hands. Be on your way, you poor soul. Perhaps you will be saved after all. Actually, don't be on your way. Nope, okay, do be on your way, sorry. I just had to go through your pockets and check that you had bandages or not. But since you don't, you're of no use to me, I'm afraid. Alright. So just waltz back over to Anna's house and see what she has to say about all this information that we have gathered before the day has even started properly. I can't believe I didn't notice the stream title until now. That's perfect. No problem. No problem. I'm glad you like it. The notification I think that was sent out should also have something to a similar effect. I've talked to the Olgimskis, Anna. Ah, pray tell, what are they up to? They're not the ones plotting against you, it's the Canes. Anyway, they've both been distracted now, got themselves a boogeyman that's scarier than you. Ah, so that's how it is. Now I understand. Now I can see the whole picture. That is the point. Now I realize. Oh, woe is me, the ever unlucky artiste. I have played the part of a villainess all too well. And now no one is going to believe that I am what I really am. Thank you, my dear. Now I know which direction to expect danger from. Do you agree to answer my questions candidly and without prejudice? It's not easy being Anna Angel. That's what Anna Angel would have you believe. I do. And why didn't you... Let's... Anna, is it true that you're a kidnapper of children, a criminal from the caravan? It's not true. I've never kidnapped a child. I was myself kidnapped at a very young age. Well, not literally kidnapped. My ending up there was more of a mishap. A mishap? Why? Because I've been born ugly and mute. No one would play with me, and I couldn't even say mummy. All the while dreaming of becoming a real singer. I had thought they'd teach me to sing at the caravan and make me beautiful. How would that be possible if you were mute? They had sorcery in their blood. They made stage artistes out of children like myself. Nothing came out of my singing in the end, but I did become a true caravan girl. A malicious, obsessed troll, ruining children's lives and souls. It so happened that I was already here at the time. So you were a failure as a singer, weren't you? And how did you become so beautiful? They'd fed me egg yolks and oysters, made me drink lemon juice, put a special toad on my chest so that I'd absorb its miasma. It didn't work. Then they decided to make me a figurine. But then there was a raid, and we got rounded up near Orv. I escaped with a snake charmer named Var. He carried me out. What's a figurine? A freak. They left the small ones at the door of a house that a child had been kidnapped from. Like changelings, you should know, and the grown-up ones are made to perform at the Gweeknol, a night show for depraved adults. It's really a shame that didn't work because, I was about to start taking notes, looking for a way to become beautiful. Egg yolks and oysters, lemon juice, and a special toad. Can you get special toads at pet shops? Does anyone know? It's always your crime. I had betrayed my parents. I had taken someone else's voice, someone else's hair. Then when I was already here, I acted the same way the caravan's leaders would. I was hungry, so I lifted all of these things from Willow the girl, who then died. It was she that used to be the golden-haired singer. That's when the plague broke out. She's no angel. She's a mezzo-soprano. Get her! How is that even possible? As a punishment for my greed, Willow Mellow had predicted that it would all turn out this way if the caravan got here. She'd even been stockpiling medicine. The stash is actually all hers. All this time, I've been waiting for my punishment. I've twisted my nature so badly I should have remained a cripple. And who was this Willow? She was nice, a real baby doll, but I did to her the same thing the caravan had been doing to children. Ground her into flour, unwove her into threads. I don't even know how I did it. Flour and threads? You're mad, aren't you? I suppose I can't ever expect to be forgiven, can I? Too big of an honor for you, having an entire town perish because of your greed. No, it wasn't your doing. What should I do with the dreadful Anna? She is not the one to blame for the pestilence, but this doesn't make her less of a monster. Directly or not, her demented passions have led her to kill Willow Mellow. Shall I condemn her then, or shall I let her live? Father must know of my decision. So I do like how the game sets up these sort of moral choices, and that these people aren't responsible for the plague, but they're still guilty of a bunch of other things. It's interesting to have the game situate these moral choices in these circumstances, and also using Clara's main mechanic, that of the falling reputation meter, as a punishment for sort of telling the truth and being like, well, no, they weren't responsible for the plague, and then the town gets backlash against you for you not telling them what they want to hear. I think it's a really clever system, and yeah, it just makes it more of a shame that Clara's campaign, as you probably have noticed again today, has a couple of mistranslation errors and is a bit shorter, but is still actually really, really well written by and large, particularly at this stage when you're actually learning a lot about these characters that you wouldn't normally learn much about elsewise. Elsewise. Varan too is a literal underground organ salesman, but he still seems way better than Vara in this game. Were you, like, better or worse?
Neither the sun nor death can be looked at without winking. Who said that?
I like that. Yeah, neither the sun nor death can be looked at without winking, which I guess is meant to be like you have to, like, at least somewhat break composure to do either of those things. You have to, like, wink at the sun, like, very, very blinking, so that you can even, like, gaze upon it, just the same as death. And then he follows up with this really strange statement with just, like, who said that, in, like, the most quizzical voice possible. It's amazing. I've talked to Anna, some neighbour you have. Not you. We. Or do you still not think of the rod as your home? Tell me, what is your verdict on Anna? She is innocent. Are you sure? Clara? I am sure. Who is guilty then? I don't know. Are there no more bad people left in town? Don't you want to know who caused the disease? Be watchful, Clara. Careful you don't let a criminal walk free. The entire town will be slowly consumed, while your mercy is keeping the one villain alive. Let truth prevail. That's my motto. Who said that? No one, because it has been translated poorly. Exactly. It's just, yeah. Winking? You mean blinking? No. Winking, I mean winking. Could see Var being better to hang out with than Var in this game. Yeah, Var in this game is an interesting case. I would be curious to know whether Var in 2 will be expanded upon at all. It is interesting how, yeah, he doesn't appears more as a kin person than an out-of-towner, but still certainly a criminal going against kin laws and town laws and constructing a pretty sordid enterprise. It's very taboo, obviously. Okay, so that's this chapter done, this quest done. As dreadful a person as she is still little more than a child, whose own naivety only serves to make her too fretful for her own good. I do not have it in me to condemn her. Let them turn their suspicious glances to me. Let them think I may be an accomplice. Still, I'd rather let her redress whatever harm she has caused. And I like that as well, because it feeds into the narrative, right? It's sort of... is Clara, also the plague? It's opening herself up to these accusations when she doesn't point the finger at someone else. But ultimately, it's supposed to show that Clara is this noble figure. Big Va. Only doing it to save his son. It's a story of parallels. Big Va, little Va. Yeah, no, it reminds me a bit of... I don't think I included... Maybe I did. I'll talk about it in a second. The morning of the third day has come. Infected 40, currently infected yesterday, currently infected 43. Day 3, in which the Changeling endeavours to hunt her impudent sister down and uncover habitual villain sins. Well, I've already done that, so, problem solved. Mission accomplished. I'm just going around checking the bins now. And then we're going to go see if we can find the Bachelor. No, I was going to say, I can't remember if I included the Hunchback in my tabletop version of Pathologic, but I certainly included Anna, obviously, and she was one of the last NPCs to stay alive. The players somewhat, I hesitate to say negligence, but perhaps some negligence here and there, but nonetheless she proved herself crafty and selfish enough to survive for an extended period of time. But yeah, ended up going a bit crazy in the campaign, hoarding all the medicine for herself, becoming a bit of a hermit, and then eventually succumbing to the disease. No, it was it's funny, like how that tabletop campaign has really become tied, the memories of that game are tied to the actual playing of Classic HD as well, because I was playing and writing both at the same time, so I was writing this campaign while I was discovering things in the game, and quite often I'd write something into the campaign that would turn out to be wrong, or just false, or something I totally made up. But instead of keeping it accurate to the game, I would instead keep it in there. I'd make Pathologic, the tabletop thing, sort of my own thing. I wasn't interested in fully replicating the experience, and I mean that was for a couple of reasons. I didn't want to take away the joy of playing the game for the first time from the people who were playing with me at the table. I was at the end of it. I'm pretty sure I gifted everybody a copy of it, and was like, okay, well, now the real thing starts. You played through this, and now see how well you do in the game. And I mean that was one reason, but it's also more fun generally in a tabletop RPG if you make the world your own in some way. And I mean it's an inevitability if you're running anything for an extended period of time that the players will interface with it in ways that you didn't think was possible, and all of a sudden you're sort of like, okay, well, now I've got to build out this whole other subsection of a world. And then as you're building out that subsection, that naturally raises questions about the nature of the world holistically, and you sort of start building out perhaps mechanics to suit whatever the players are trying to do, and focusing on what they find interesting, because I mean that's really the most important part of running those kinds of games, is identifying what the players find most interesting, but still telling it in a challenging and interesting way. And I like to think that I'm pretty good at that by now, at least with the group I'm currently playing with. Can identify what they're interested in within the bounds of a setting, and then build that out, and also introduce them to new opportunities that they might not have considered, and all of a sudden, that blows the doors off again, and that creates more engagement for everybody. And I mean, world building is itself a really fun exercise. And someone might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the basis for Pathologic, it was a long time ago that I read this, but the basis for Pathologic was either an actual sort of a play or a tabletop campaign, and they sort of tried to, I'm not sure whether it was a campaign that was ever run or not, but they certainly tried to build something out of those bones and put it into the digital form. And even if it's not true, it was interesting while I was writing it to conceptualize, well, I'm doing the reverse, I'm pulling it back. I'm seeing what happens when you take a game and put that back into the tabletop, whether it was in the tabletop or not. But that's what I believed at the time. And again, I might be wrong about that. It's been a long time since I have double-checked my facts on that one. But it was a fascinating experience to entrench myself in the game, and especially at a time when the game, was still popular, among a certain crowd, but any kind of fandom around it was certainly very unmoving. At the point when I played it for the first time, no one had. Hello.
Yes.
I know Disco Elysium started as a tabletop campaign. That's really cool. I think EYE Divine Cybermancy might have done the same. But I don't remember reading that about Pathologic. Not sure though. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know either. Hey, Artemis program, how you doing? Yeah, good old Pathologic. Endlessly interested in the stuff you have to say about tabletop RPGs. Really hope you write more on the topic in the future. Absolutely, yeah. I was thinking of writing a video too about the experience as well. But yeah, it's a really, I mean, it's a really unique format, right? Because you're not. I think what you have to do when you're playing as the game master or the dungeon master or whatever you want to call them, the storyteller, you really have to set aside your own expectations for the story. You kick it off maybe, but then you've really got to identify what players are interested in and who they're invested in. And when you figure that out, I mean, basically the story is almost writing itself, if you're lucky, and I have been very lucky with everyone I've played with and the campaigns that I've run and the experiences I've got to share. Really valuable. Talk about it more in a minute, but I can't leave the Bachelor standing here expectantly. What are you doing here? I could really do without being bothered. Well, you're just standing at the front door, Bachelor, staring at the door last time I checked, but I've been looking for you, Bachelor. Someone is worried about you. Ava? No, Capella, aren't you here on her request? You're the one doing the errands, not me. I'm doing my own work here. Actually, that reminds you. Have you by any chance seen a dodgy-looking lad around? I told him to get lost, but now I'm not sure he listened. You could tell by his eyes. He was a weaselly fellow. No, Bachelor, you're the only weaselly fellow here that I'm aware of. That's reassuring. By the way, you really shouldn't be here. Burak, the Haruspex, is hiding in one of those houses. He's dangerous. I'm sure he is this Ripper everyone's talking about, the body snatcher. I wish he knew where he was hiding exactly. Wouldn't want to walk into the beast's lair in the dark. That's intense. So what happens now? I've been trying to track him down for some time now. He's certainly somewhere close. Flashed past a while ago, actually. If you happen to see him, tell me which house he's in. I'll deliver on rewards, in coin, as well as medicine. They will come in handy. If you're trying to track him down, why aren't you busy looking for him yourself? I can't leave this place. I've got work to do. By the way, have you ever met any butchers around here? Big fellows, flat faces. I've been waiting for them for a full hour. I'm afraid that damned Ripper was involved again. He's got some issue with butchers too. What you're talking about is utterly beyond me. Haruspex is hunting in the infected district. Even if he walks from house to house, he will linger long enough in one place for me to find him. So, we're not given any map or anything like that. What I'm going to do is back out of the district slightly. And yeah, I can't believe it either. He should have, he's feeling very rude today. Not even a hello. Not even a hi. So rude. What do we have? 23% durability. Where's the nearest clothing store around here? It's this one, I think. Go wander that way. We've got plenty of time in the day. It's still only 8 o'clock in the morning. Clara's going to do a lot of sleeping after this is done. Haven't got any letters, have we? Nope. Pretty cruisy day. Nice to get all your errands done at 2 a.m. Because no one goes to sleep in this town. They all just stand up waiting for you. But yeah, and I mean, I think look, a dog. Talked about this kind of thing before, but I do think there's something really special about the textures that were chosen for this game. And it takes me, just looking at this game takes me straight back to 2017, 2018. It's really, it was a sunny day, I think, sitting inside. Sliding door was open. Nice fresh air rolling inside, and you just sort of had this contrasting with this really autumnal feel of this game, and the oranges and the browns. It's really amazing, right? Because what it makes me think of is the PlayStation 3 era. But the PlayStation 3 era would cover everything in these other horrible visual filters, and would make their games, which are still constructed of roughly the same color palettes, these like really earthy like browns and greys and blacks and oranges and that kind of thing. Because that really was the era for that, right? PS3, Xbox 360, that kind of era. Everyone was really pushing that aesthetic. But what Pathologic proved to me was that you can actually make that aesthetic look nice, or at least feel aesthetically relevant to the narrative and to the game that you're actually playing. I don't know. I just I look back at a lot of those games and I sort of wonder, like, is it just the visual filters, or is something missing out of this? Is it just like, or is it just a function of nostalgia? Like, was I thinking about that at the time that I was playing for the first time? I don't know. I can't remember. That's certainly what I think now. I sort of think, wow, this game, looks like extraordinarily beautiful, and it's probably like just helped by the like great art direction. But this is a city that you really, you can get lost in, and in a good way too. Not in a like, oh, it's Brown Corridor number 5000. All right, here we go. It's really amazing. And then you have the stores that are sort of soaked, like slathered in this weird green light, which gives everything this sort of like twisted, diseased feel all by itself. It's just, I struggle to think of any game that really uses a similar color palette that's not by Aspect Lodge, that looks as good, as this one does. Really, they really pulled off this feeling of decay, of sort of the town ticking over into winter, right? The plague sort of eating away at everything, and all that's left is sort of the endlessly drifting leaves. And I think that's another part of it too. It's like I'm just fascinated by the tiny little visual decisions, like that it took someone time to sort of make these endlessly drifting leaves and scatter them to the winds, but it was worth it. It adds something, really adds something to it. These rats, on the other hand, add nothing to the game, except deep frustration. Sorry, rat, that was, the Bachelor would have had a much worse time dealing with you. Don't disrespect them. It's true. They're gonna get me for that. I apologize, rats. Yeah, the gameplay mechanics around you deeply frustrating, but you look great. Love rats. Love rats. Just wish you had a bigger hitbox or something, But don't mean that in a mean way. Just Okay, I can't remember in this quest whether Artemy appears like at the front door, or whether he's like in some stupid place and I've got to like search the whole house to find him. Just gonna do a couple like poke our heads into a couple of doors here, and see if we can find anything useful. Doesn't really look like it. Not in here, is he? Really love the theatrical lighting in this game, and especially in 2. Yep. I used to take lots of pictures of real life interiors I encountered that had similarly dramatic lighting, so these games always remind me of the pictures I took. And that's, like, I think that's kind of stuff's like awesome. Is where we personally identify elements of the game in our own world, or elements of our own world in the game. We're getting something out of it that no one else can give to us. Like those pictures are something that you carry with you. 2 lemons, cool, 2 diseased lemons. That you're going to carry with you for a very, very long time. In relation to this game, just like I relate to this game in tabletop terms, sometimes you have those images, and that's, I just think that kind of stuff's really cool. I'd be curious to hear, yeah, like if anyone else has similar sort of like, oh, I associate this game with such and such because, yeah, I find that so interesting. Isn't the subjectivity of art just beautiful? Don't you just love to hear that art can be endlessly interpreted in countless different ways? I know I do. I can't get enough of that. Just when art is so beautiful and diverse, can't read it objectively, that's for sure. Hello, Sticky. Oh no, BlueVoices, no!
I can barely stand.
Can be objectively graded, my ass. I don't think so. Bothering you, that's odd. I'm just here to disturb you, not bother you. Fine, I'll leave you alone. Pathologic is objectively ugly. Oh, you... Oh no. I got diseased. Or did I? Wow, I sure do love looking at things from my own unique perspective. I sure hope this awesome video's comment section will be full of similar sentiments. Boy, don't I wish. Stunning, yeah. I just think, you know, that's the kind of... Like, when someone says, oh, you know, like, this is what I see in the art, you know, and it's... Like, and it's a, you know, a beautiful reading of, like, oh, the art sort of, you know, this is what it means to me, and this is what I get out of it, and I just, you know, like... I just find that extraordinary, and I wish to encourage that whenever and wherever possible, because it's disheartening otherwise to sort of like to say like, oh no, this is what Pathologic means, and you know you can all go home now, you know, finished. Pathologic's finished. Don't need to talk about it anymore because, well, you know, I'm done. It's sort of, you know, it's not only is it disrespectful to the game, it's disrespectful to other people too. Very disheartening, and it's also the kind of thing that really makes you want to distance yourself from a community, I think, to say, oh, you know, here's what art should mean. Very frustrating, a pet peeve. But yeah, if anyone has any personal connection, going to be talking about objectivity and overanalysis for the next 5 years. Those comments provided us endless entertainment. They absolutely did, yeah. And what's amazing about it is that our own subjective view on the topic proves that art is subjective. The very fact that we're having a disagreement proves, therefore, that art is not objective, which I thought was extraordinary. I don't know how I dodged that. Amazing parkour skills. Go back out here. Save again. Where is Artemy anyway? What house is he hiding in? No, I think... Oh, damn it. I think, the overanalysis thing is something that... The overanalysis thing specifically is something that I want to address in a video or two in the next year or so. Because a lot of people do approach those, you know, video essays with quite a cynical mindset. And I think the other kind of, you know, I don't know, I've seen recently like a sort of an uptick in the cynical use of the phrase like media literacy, and sometimes I think that term can be valid, but I think more often than not people are not reacting to the comments specifically, just engaging with these ideas, which I think are important in the general YouTube internet landscape, which takes media criticism and almost turns it into kind of a battleground or something, like, oh, I'm smarter than the film, like I can beat the game, like intellectually, like I figured it out, I figured out what the objective meaning of something is, and like to a certain degree, like I get the desire to do that. It's like a feeling of security or comfort or whatever, to sort of say, well, that's the book on that closed, I can move on to something else now. But I think, to reduce media criticism to this one-sided competition, to say that, I can beat a work of art somehow, by sort of proving or disproving that, that the plot is broken, or, there's a little plot hole here, or in one shot he was standing up, but then in the next one he was sitting down. We didn't get to see him sitting down. I can't believe it. The movie's experience is ruined. Those kinds of criticisms, I think, really don't get anyone anywhere, unless you're trying to have a bit of fun with it, like, oh, if you're really going over it with, an eye to detail, but you can't, like, expect people to take those criticisms particularly seriously, right? Like, it's just like when I point out, like, a typo or a mistranslation in the text, I'm not actually, like, going at it hard, I'm just sort of, I'm like, oh, isn't that funny, like, this, it's just sort of a result of all the hard work that goes into making a piece of art, and not everything can be perfect. I can tell you, I was deeply frustrated with myself, because I was really carefully editing the Silent Hill 2 video, the 2-hour one, for a long, long time. And then as it was uploading, I watched it through quickly one more time, just to be like, it's all right. And then I found that I'd left in a bit of like recording software stuff up the top right. It only appears for like half a second. But I was personally annoyed with that, because I'd spent ages trying to make the video appear relatively seamless, and all of a sudden, like, it was almost like destroyed for me. And then I took a step back, and I'm like, well, I don't think no one except me, and who knows, maybe the people who are watching my stream and are about to respond to it right now with angry, outraged comments, will care about that, because it doesn't, it doesn't matter. So I think, I don't know, I wanted to make a video, or at least address that kind of stuff in a video, because I think, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like people need to hear that appreciating art should be a collective experience, but one where we can bring our own thoughts and feelings to the table, and not in an aggressive way either. And like, oh, isn't this amazing? What did you like about this? Well, I like this, but I didn't like this. And you can be like, well, that's fair. Here's why I like that. And, you can supply your own evidence either way. But level-headed discussion on the internet is not always a thing. Okay, he's got some bandages. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant, wasn't it? Hope everyone listening finds these things as interesting as I do to conceptualize and discuss. And I know we're obviously can talk about specific comments, but I also don't want any of my responses to be directly to certain comments. I think more just to the general ideas that are brought up, which I see, in other places on the internet. More often than not, people will just bring a real sense of cynicism to the general area. Yeah, you've hit something on the head there. Yeah. Sorry, sweetie, Mummy and I decided we can't hang your art in the fridge because it's objectively lower in quality than Michelangelo's work. Go to bed now, yeah. Go to bed with your Michelangelo and Picasso bed sheets and I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you'll be able to produce a work of real art, you know. But yeah, yeah. There's so much to consider when you're like addressing or criticizing an artwork, and you can't possibly cover it all. And even if you think you've covered it all, someone will just come straight up to you and say, "Oh, well, did you consider this?" And you'll be like, "No, of course I didn't, because I have never thought about things from that worldview before." And there are so many different worldviews that it sort of becomes crazy to really even start to scratch the surface of a text. And I mean, yeah, the only readings of a text that I won't abide and I won't let slide are obviously bigoted readings of any sort. I don't want to examine any text that I believe to have an overtly bigoted message or anything like that. But I feel like, yeah, anything else for me is relatively fair game. Just sort of chat about, why did no one have Schmouder? Come on, 3 different little girls, none of them have Schmouder. Just gonna keep looking and rifling through the garbage. You know, I was introduced to Stardew Valley properly by a sibling this year, because my partner had introduced it to me the previous year, but we hadn't played it very much together. And then I was playing Stardew, and I was going through the bins, and then someone in that game snapped at me, you know, or didn't like me as much because I was going through the bins. And I was thinking, well, you know, they wouldn't last a day in Pathologic, you know, it's part of the economy. I was really snapped out of my Pathologic rhythm there, you know, just going through everybody's bins. Can't believe people don't actually like that. Absurd. So you put it in your bin, it's public property, surely. Alright, hopefully one of you has Schmouder, please. But we trade, nope. Trade, nope, damn it. Okay, keep looking. NIMBYs? Really going to embarrass myself by not knowing that acronym. Not off the top of my head anyway. Not in my backyard. Of course, I knew I'd heard it before. Not in my backyard of Stardew Valley. Absolutely, that's exactly the experience. Patho has a rubbish and drug-based economy. Yeah, and apparently not all video games are built like that. I can't believe Pathologic would lie to me like that. Very disappointing. Hello. No. That's how it is in real life, yeah. You don't know what I'm going through out there. One man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say. Picking up CDs at second-hand stores, keeping the economy alive, you know. Exactly that kind of thing. That's what Pathologic trained me for. Is there any bins back here? Hello, garbage. Nope. Maybe the bins reset at 8 AM in the morning rather than midnight. Can't remember exactly. Getting exhausted. Wandering around for a while. Still didn't find Haruspex. Or the Ripper. You'll note that, yeah, Dankowski was calling him the Ripper before, which, you know, emphasizes how the Bachelor sees him in this particular variation of the universe, where Clara is quote-unquote the main character. Dumpster diving is just a genre of video you can make. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that out there, huh? Honestly, you can sort of, you know, you can make a lot of crazy stuff and get views. I think it's, you know, it's like, it's cool, you know. Dumpster diving can be pretty interesting. Just to sort of see, you know, like, oh, what did these people throw out? They threw out a gold ring, a water bottle. I could use that. Some needles. Damn, the children around here are gonna love this. Exactly that kind of thing. Just need to make a pathologic dumpster diving video. What's up, guys? I'm here dumpster diving in the town on Gorka, and let's see what we can find today. April Fools is April Fools when it rolls around, you know. Get some dumpster diving pathologic videos. GameStop dumpster diving is pretty interesting. I can imagine sort of to see what games are not selling very well, that kind of thing. Or do they throw out like posters and ads and that kind of thing too, I imagine. Yeah, just sort of fascinating. I think it was earlier this year. The thumbnail has the guy with his mouth wide open and a maniacal smile, and his face is covered in schmouder residue. Damn, you're just encouraging me. Clara's fun dumpster vacation. This is my home now. Yes, bandages, thank you. All about those dumpsters. We're the Pathologic fan base. We love dumpsters. What more do you want from the universe? Still a better side gig than Bitcoin. Yep. Rather dumpster dive than flog NFTs. You know, about 1,000 times more pleasurable. I guess we'll go home, have a sleep, and then we'll try look for horror specs again, and then otherwise we'll just finish the day. Dumpster diving is just living anthropology. I like that. I like that description a lot. Yeah. This is archaeology as it happens. Unearthing yesterday's garbage. Next door neighbor. We gotta stay quiet so they don't hear me. Please buy my dumpster NFTs. Great. Now I'm gonna need you to make a like a Clara frantically going through a dumpster emoji.
What does this town do?
Don't have anything to say. Cool. Okay. Sleep for 5 hours or something. That'll make us feel better. Cool. Hungry again. Good thing I have 8 lemons. Living the healthy lifestyle. Gonna say a dumpster NFT emote and I was about to start crying. Yeah, no, I'm afraid I'd have to ban myself if I started suggesting NFTs for the channel. Like, sorry guys, yeah, I'm retiring as of now. I've jumped the shark. Crossed a line. So we got a letter that says secret addendum, the annotation for patrolmen, couriers, executors, and sanitary personnel. In order to prevent panic, this annotation is classified and its contents should be under no circumstances disclosed to the civilian population. So everyone here is just going to have to block their ears. The disease is incurable. There is no vaccine, neither here nor in the capital. However, there are a few positive facts. The probability of contracting the disease is significantly lower for someone who has taken immune system stimulants. As of now, we believe that A pills and B pills, yellow-coloured and blue-coloured respectively, provide the best protective effect. Excessive doses of these may be detrimental to one's health. Additional protection is afforded by synthetic clothing. Woolen garments are strictly off-limits. Parasites. The clothing should be changed as often as possible. 3. Important. Why didn't you... This should be number 1. The disease develops sporadically. At its initial stage, it does not progress in any significant way, especially if antibiotics are taken. However, if contact with the infection reoccurs, the development of the disease becomes extremely rapid. 4. The disease is not transmitted by means of droplet infection. As of now, we've yet to find out how it is contracted. Preliminary tests suggest the disease is not contagious at early stages. Therefore, there is no need to isolate the sick person immediately after the appearance of the symptoms. Appended by the executors, in consideration of your particular line of work, we believe that you will not be able to avoid infection. If you've contracted the disease, do not give in to despair. It would have happened sooner or later anyway. Try your best to conserve the infection at its initial stage. Take antibiotic medicine. Consider using the schmouters. They're extremely dangerous, but they help curb the infection. Cool. And that's, I think some of the best letters from this game come with that kind of like in-universe tutorial kind of feel. Like you're supposed to take on board this advice, knowing what you know about the game mechanics so far. I like that, that kind of style. I'm going to check these houses in here. I don't think I checked some of them, and I have a feeling he's probably in one of those, if I remember correctly. But there's also that kid I'm supposed to be. His name Loafer or something? I don't even know if Loafer is meant to be alive or not. Have a look in here. No. No Artemy. I'll take a few of these. Boost my immunity a bit. Less chance of contracting the disease. Theoretically. Stuck on the awning there. Good job, Clara. Now check upstairs. Oh, gloves. Bullet needle. Okay. Doesn't hurt to be looting these houses either. Stocking up on resources. No, that was the bachelor house. What is this one? I bet you Haruspex has just gone home for the day. Damn. Got infected that time. Alright, we'll stick with this one. We're infected now. See how we do. Tyrene. Nothing. Shotgun shells. Can Clara even wield the shotgun? I can't even remember. Okay, time to leave. Like, I know that she can wield the girl boss gun, but that's about it, I think. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she can only use the Derringer. I guess... I can't remember if the guards take these. No, they only take the razors, right. What I will do is I will get some vegetables from you, good sir. Thank you. At least I'll be able to sell the bullets to Bad Grief or something. Or to a vendor. Doesn't hurt to have. Okay. Where am I gonna look now? I really don't know which house he's gonna be in. Okay. I'll keep looking. Don't run out of the district. If this was an American game, she'd be able to wield a shotgun in one hand and a homemade RPG in the other. Yeah, where's my can you give me a hint?
Truth does not do as much good in the world as the appearance of truth does evil.
Where's my American Pathologic remake, where Clara can like dodge roll around town, blind fire with an M4 or whatever. Have you seen those thick whiffs of warm, phlegmy moisture? They're infected. If you see the wind carry a cloud like that towards you, run. Daniel is the real loafer. Hasn't moved all day. No, he's a lazy sod today, isn't he? Always on the lookout. There's no need to warn me. I was kind of hoping for, like, you know, have you seen Artemis since? No, Clara, I haven't seen Artemis since. I'm sorry. But I do like the character that he gives to the disease clouds, that they're like phlegm, like giant clouds of phlegm carried by the wind. It's pretty disgusting. I like it a lot as a description, because you sort of just assume, I don't know, just assume that, you know, sand pest, they're sort of dry. I think he's just waiting for people to stumble upon him so he can pose dramatically in the dark. Absolutely, that's something he would do 100%. Have you heard of or played Darkwood before? Absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't quite finish it back when I played it, but I really, really loved it. I really loved what I played of it. Really haunting, disturbing. The survival mechanics are very good. You haven't finished it either? It is very fun, yeah. Like, some of the, it's like really innovative survival horror, and that it really immerses you within that particular place. Losing the house room by room to a monster, and like desperately waiting for the day to come is amazing. Has a very good ending. Damn. Okay. Well, I need to get back into it. Too many games to get back into. Yeah, it's really nice, that sort of interactive, like waiting for the sun to come up, but having to actively survive the whole time rather than just go inside and wait. Having the monsters able to come and get you is, yeah, quite effective, I thought. Like how my immunity has gone back up after being in this infected house for long enough. I'm stuck. Fear and Hunger, only very briefly. I haven't played it for very long at all. I need to play some of it legitimately. But I really liked what I played of it so far. Seriously? Can I dodge it in this room? I don't know. Parkour over the dying person. Go down the stairs. Get the hell out of this house. There's just far too many good things to play, and never enough time. Rat. I have to kill this one. I can just go into the shop here. Never enough time for everything we want to do in a day. Gonna grab some antibiotics and just a few more pills here. Cool. Yeah, I guess we'll hit the hay again. Might as well go on to the next day. Play a bit of that before I have to go, and in a bit. It's nice to actually do a long stream again and not feel like I'm under severe time pressure to actually do anything. It certainly has felt like that semi-recently. Okay, put the kerosene away. And... alright. Wait till it hits midnight. Up we get.
The day is over. Your timely efforts allowed your supporters to remain unharmed. A new mime performance is being rehearsed at the theater.
Cool.
Yes.
So, how are you doing, my daughter? Have you had plenty of work today? I've only been up for 5 minutes, Dad. Jeez. Yes, rather a lot. All those places to visit. I had to go everywhere and observe everything. Yes, I understand. Will you tell me about it? I don't think I should. I really don't. You don't need to hear any of that. My dear father and protector, as she places her, the back of her hand against her forehead and swoons. Are you finding it difficult to talk to me, Father? Have I done something to make you angry? Are you willing to continue helping me in the future? It's my duty. You are already the talk of the town. Wicked people are afraid of you, and not just the wicked people. You inspire fear in many, my dear daughter. No, he's absolutely not. He's terrible. Are some people really afraid of me? Who are they? That doesn't matter. It is for the better. You can see what's going on on yourself. Monsters are hatching one after another, each uglier than the one before. You poke your finger anywhere, and you squash some abominable spider every time. Is the epidemic spawning them, or did they spawn the epidemic? I don't understand anything anymore. Yes, you're right. A lot of people are getting causes and consequences mixed up now. That's because everything has become a closed loop. They are right. Now I'm convinced that grief is the culprit. This man, this kingpin of the warehouses, smuggler and death peddler, has now let gangs of thugs loose on the streets. You can see what's going on. They cut people down, they murder women, they rob homes. They are too much for the patrolmen. But how could he have caused the epidemic? Bachelor Dankovsky found during his investigation that Grief had ordered thieves to dump infected corpses into the river, anything up to several dozen. The thieves refused to reveal the location. In fact, they are altogether denying having done it, but the claim must certainly be examined. That's just horrible, and yet the infected corpses have had to have come from somewhere. That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know if it's true, and if yes, the exact location where they dumped those corpses, before we stamp out this whole nest of vipers. And we are going to have to stamp it out. He's done too much evil already, this Grief. Perhaps he is not directly responsible, but indirectly is enough for us. Why don't you ask Grief yourself? You know where he lives. Bring him in and question him. Why do you need me? The wily lowlife is denying everything. He feigned fear and pretended to have nothing to do with it. He acted his part so well that he even raised the alarm himself. Yet I'm sure it's Grief who is inciting the killers, as well as buying up their victims' stolen belongings. Ask him if it's true. I am sure it is. Don't you have a way to loosen his tongue? That is not all. I suspect that Grief enjoys the Olgimsky's protection. Okay, don't answer my question. In exchange for giving them kickbacks from his illicit trade in Twyrine, should Vlad take offense, I would prefer to face him fully armed. Ask Grief if it's true. I would like to know everything about him before he's dealt with. Who could know things about him? You know. Things? He won't open up unless I catch his soul with a hook. I don't know. Olgimsky surely knows something, but he will say nothing. Think. Do your own research. I'll try. I think I know who that could be. Okay, I felt like vaguely diseased waking up this morning. Having a good time. Okay, so what have we got? Just this one infected today? Is Grief to blame for starting this plague? 8 minutes past midnight? Clara has the best sleep schedule. Much healthier than anybody else's. Thank you for asking. She's going to make sure that everyone she talks to now has to adhere to her sleep schedule as well. And today I'm going to do such a good job that he's going to put my accusation on the fridge today. Did you remember to check out Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey? Not very briefly either, I'm afraid. It's the I remember what you're talking about though. I do absolutely need to play it. It's just been lots on my plate, but yeah, keen to play it, even stream it at some stage when I can pick it up. So yeah, we'll see what Grief has to say for himself, if anything. Try and avoid spreading the plague anywhere, despite the fact we are definitely infected. Fun, and really kind of puts human evolution into an easier to understand context. No, I mean it. Yeah, from what I looked at it, it did look quite appealing. But I will have to do more research, I think, more looking into it. But I would, So the plan is to finish Pathologic and Yakuza, just focus on actually getting playthroughs of those done, and then I'll be able to play some shorter games again and that kind of thing. When one or both of those are finished, but it would be nice to have them both done. Hello.
A spooky fellow, that bachelor. A remedy worse than the disease itself. He'd swallow us whole.
Oh, we've heard an earful about you here. We have. Some thief you are. Hasn't it occurred to you, little tot, that taking your leave right now is not going to be an easy job, or even doable at all? Why, I did think of an exit strategy beforehand. Do you have a soul, thief? Now that's a question I didn't expect. Smart thief, you. I'll surprise you many times yet, thief.
Many a one says ill that sleeps well.
'Tis us or them, right, kiddo? I have a question for you, Grief. I'm a trifle tired, I am. Oh well, my life's barely begun, and it's almost lights out time already. Questions? Who's got time for that? Oh no, I ain't angry at all, just tired. 'Tis all because of 'em questions. You agree to answer one, and a bit of your life's blood escapes with the answer. With the anger. Anger is our life's blood, little pimple. Little Pimple, that's quite a nickname. I feel sorry for you. You must be in pain. Whoa, who are you to feel sorry for me, you little tot? Eh? I won't tolerate anyone's pity. I've got my own pity to spare. Ain't you a kind little lass, a loving little one, making me go all soft on you, eh? Where did the anger go? No anger in sight, none at all. Heh. There's a reason for that, Grief. We are alike, you and I. Our paths have crossed for a reason. Yeah, you're a thief too. I know, it takes one to know one. And so you're always a welcome guest here. Why am I a thief? Why, I've heard the stories about a lass on the run from the law, ready to have her head rolling without mercy. And the conviction's just that, theft. I respect that. They want to extinguish you once and for all. I wonder what you stole. Must be something real important to the state. Theft is not a sin anymore. It's forgivable now. You're no thief, but quite unequivocally a killer, and that is not forgivable. Yeah, living the thieving. I've got myself a lad who can vouch for me, alright. He's the best kind of advocate man could have too, because he's my enemy. The little prick never misses a chance to smear my honest thief's name in more dirt. It's that pesky little punk, Notkin. Had it in for me since forever. Keeps setting his whelps on me too. And they have a nose for our lot's sins. Okay. Ask him then if I'm a killer. I was going to anyway. You just do like a cat scratch mime at me? Bit rude. This guy alright? Fancy mannequins you got in here. Look just like the real thing. He's just, yeah. That about sums up that guy's existence. Snapped my legs and got jumped by a saber-tooth. Still survived, and that's how we're all here. We're very grateful. We appreciate it. Once dodged an alligator attack like 5 times in a row because I couldn't get my monkey boy to climb up a tree with his broken legs. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. Oh no. History would have been forever changed if broken leg monkey boy could have made it up the tree. Okay. This one over here. The hidden warehouse with the convenient barrel fire going outside, so as not to arouse suspicion. You look fine. Oh, no, okay, you're actually breathing, so that's good. Hello, Notkin. What are you reading? What are you reading? Some story with castles in it.
Bachelors tested old drugs. 5 people have died in big city. Wow.
In Big City what? Big City Quack? Is that what he was trying to say? It sounded like Big City Croc. I haven't seen you here before. What district are you from? I've come from the steppe.
How do I fix my legs?
Well, are we friends yet? Grief says he's been falsely accused. Is that true? Oh, villain. Another clean spot left on that one. Name a crime. Any crime, and he'll be guilty of it. What did he get himself accused of this time? Of spreading the epidemic. What? Who said that? That's what I'm asking. They're benefiting from the outbreak. That much is true. You see, there's this little known fact. It could all be because of the twirine peddled by the thieves. There's been this special twirine lately. It's black, and it's surrounded by so many fears and prohibitions that there must be a reason. Black twirine? Do you think the disease has been spreading through it? Use that talent of yours to ask him about the black twirine. I'd love to see how shifty his eyes will get. Thanks for the good advice, Notkin. Do you have anything else to say?
No time for chingwagon.
No time for chinwagon. Well, are we friends yet? Quite possibly. If what you've told me is true. Okay. Let's keep looking. Go back to Grief, I think. His face was a picture when he said that. Quite like that saying. Maybe I'll have to use that in Forbidden Siren 2 video. Their faces were pictures. Quite literally. UVO's life advice. Much like the modern day, life was much easier when you just hang out with your friends, yelling at anything within a 15 meter radius. Yep, the good old tribal strategy. Stick together and yell. Alright. Yeah, I like the anachronistic details in some of the clothing. Still remains fascinating to me. And very clever. Hello.
A spooky fella, that bachelor. Remedy worse than the disease itself. He'd swallow us whole.
'Tis us or them, right, kiddo? And I'm going to ask you some questions, Grief, on behalf of your greatest fear, and you're going to answer them. Huh? What? Villain, oh villain, I know of you this. You knew ahead of time about the disaster that was to strike the town. Will you agree to touch me, to brave the depths, to answer my questions candidly and without prejudice? Sure, kiddo. Ask away. Where'd you get my name anyway? Sabarov whispered it to you, the scum. You're not asleep? Did you still want to ask those questions? See this little thingy on my neck? It's a step talisman against Maras like you, eh? Alright, I'm not mad. Age-old custom of give and take and everything. I can get behind that. Do a tiny little favour for me and I'll do the answering for you. What were you saying about touching, eh, little tot? Anyway, ain't you a piece of work? Speak. The Sabarov scum is trying to frame me. That angry face, knife attacks and other kinds of nastiness. Now, can you imagine me cutting someone with a knife? Eh? Of course you can't. I'm not guilty of any of that, neither are my lads. They're just trying to sell knives. Now, Sabarov, he's not angry on account of the people, just on account of his people. I want to give him the actual cutthroat so that he leaves me alone. I'll clear my own reputation in the process too, so it's a win-win. I'll put in a word for you. There's a trophy lion in Barley's lair, a sack. Just make sure you don't open it or look inside, kiddo. Weasel your way into Barley's trust, eh? Then steal that bag, bring it to Sabarov, and tell him where you found it. That's it. And the town becomes one cutthroat lighter. That's a lot to do. And keep your pretty little mouth shut, will you? Don't you mention that you're doing it for me, eh? If you doubt my word, you can ask Barley if it was his doing. Then go ahead. You watch out now. Somewhere in Barley's lair is a sack containing hard proof he had a hand in the mass bloodshed. This soundtrack is so good. And it only plays in Grief's warehouse. I hope when you say hopefully no politicians try to ban it for being commie propaganda, that no politicians have actually tried banning it for being even remotely communist. But you know, if Pathologic teaches us anything, it's you really gotta eat the rich, or at least leave the rich to die of the plague and save everyone else instead. Is that a friendly robber? Probably not. What do you know? That sounds about right. I was just making sure that there wasn't some obscure movement where someone had looked at that game and was like, "Oh my goodness." Working together? I don't think so. Need my rugged individualism fantasy. Okay. More robbers. See, sorry, I just killed one of your friends, but hi, you want to talk? You ain't getting in. Look, you are ill. Put your sharp knife away and I'll help you. Oh, I've heard about you. You can heal with your hands, so go ahead, but be careful. Keep calm. If you'll I'll just give you a quick demonstration of my healing abilities. So, if this gentleman will just hold still. You can see quite clearly, it's very effective at curing all that ails you. And don't worry, it'll take him some time to recover. If they used it to teach human evolution, that would be the thing to get it banned. Yeah, you're probably right. Based on what I hear about many areas in the world. Oop. At least here in the good old US of A. Ow. There's a lot of praise. A lot of praise for the United States historically in this chat. Mainly in relation to NASCAR. Mainly in relation to NASCAR, I gotta admit. Granny's supporting NASCAR. You ain't getting in. Hush, be quiet. So that was, you can see that, yeah, my healing is incredibly effective. For you it worked instantaneously. That's just because you were so sick. It's just going to take a while for you to recover. If you don't, I'm really sorry. I did everything I could for you. Okay, that was easy. I can't remember if there are more in here or not. Would you look at that? Hello. You want to talk as well? You look like a sane and rational individual. And who would this little creature here be? Want to get a bob or a ponytail? Want me to saw you up in half with my razor too? Or shall I just squash you with my nail, huh? You have no idea who you're talking to, slob. I am death. Ho ho ho, death of what, cockroaches? Go ahead then, take some. You're too funny. No, not cockroaches, unless you're a cockroach. Listen to me before it's too late. I'm going to count to 3 now. If you manage to surprise me, you'll live. If you don't, you won't. Duh. 1, 2. Do you hear that noise coming from the corner behind you? Guess who's hiding there? Oldest trick in the book. Why is he walking like that? Fair and balanced? Yeah, I can't wait. Hey, I'm walking here. Get pranked. You suck. Oh no, rats! Why is my... You have like rat friends? Is that what's going on here? He did bring backup. This is unprecedented. Come on, Barley. That is Daniil, that one. Yeah. That's the one I was reminiscing about at the start of the stream. The broken fight. The rat is so unfair. Yeah, I don't know like why the rats are like on his side. Like he just has like trained rats. This game learns from its players and adapts its own code to come up with new challenges. I would honestly not be surprised. Cool, okay. We got what we were looking for. We killed him too, so we don't even really need to report him, to be honest, but guess we probably should. Have some vegetables. Stay healthy. I don't think we can't look in the bag, right? Yeah. Soggy sack. A sack that feels like it contains a human head. I wonder what on earth could be in this strange sack. It's a shame we already killed him, so we can't ask him to confirm. A watermelon. That's a great guess. I gotta run back to Seberov and be like, alright, it's a watermelon or a rat? It's a rat. There's a rat that got in there and has been eating the watermelon. That's why it's soggy and unstable. He's chewed through and the watermelon's gone everywhere through the bag. It's a real shame. Can't believe the rat would do this. Technically, every bag either has a watermelon or a rat in it. The Schrodinger's bag. You don't know whether it'll be a watermelon or a rat, whether you open when you open your bag or not, but it will be one of the two. You can guarantee that. The classic conundrum. Nothing in here. I haven't gone to see the play yet, have I? Win-win situation. Are you judging me, or do you sympathize? If nothing makes you warm, then that means there's no warmth inside you. I know the dance. When I dance, I exist. I offer my juices to the earth, luring Twire out of it. But after that, when Twire blooms, I don't get drunk with the colour. So it's you who we owe the Twire blooming to. I don't know if you are to be thanked. Aristotle wrote a book about this, I think. The cat in the water, the rat in the watermelon. Classic. See if we go back to Seberov, right? I need to hurry. You do need to hurry, yeah. It's only 2:31. Time is running out. Have anything else like this? You can't trade with them, can you? You do make me feel empty. Yeah, find your own way. Yeah, they don't have anything else to say beyond that. Alright. Go back. Chat to Seberov, see how they're doing. See if he's gonna condemn anyone. Pathfinding time. Can he do it? We're waiting with bated breath here. Yes, good job. Congratulations. You get a one-way, you know, you get a free trial period of Clara's healing hands. I think you'll find it works pretty well. Alright, hello.
Neither the sun nor death can be looked at without winking. Who said that?
You did. You said that yesterday. I will restore order here, god damn it. Father, if you only knew what I've had to endure. But I found out that... What? What did you find out? If you didn't cut me off, I'd be able to tell you. Grief is not the mastermind. He really did prohibit murdering. The killers are being incited by a different man, known as Barley the Barber. If it's true, we need to inform the Bachelor immediately. He seems about to try to snatch Wolf's glory from under his nose. I don't understand. I set up a trap for Grief. Sergeant Wolf found out that the killer's ringleader had called up a meeting in a certain secret location. All that remains is to discover that location, and we'll catch Grief red-handed. The ringleader is none other than him. It cannot be anyone else. Actually, I haven't asked him yet, because you see, it was he who sent me to you to intercede on his behalf. Enough! We'll discuss that later. Now to the business at hand. I need to send a messenger to Wolf at once. See the sack? I stole it from Barley's lair. Take it. It's very heavy. And wet. What's inside it? Show me. Look. It's Wolf's head. The sergeant in charge of the operation. The one who first found out about the killer's secret meeting. I had a hunch about what might be in the bag. My most trusted patrolman. The sharpest, most skillful and daring. I had him in mind as the replacement for Yaklak, who had gone missing. Who am I to rely on now? Ah, the blackguard. He has as good as cut off my right hand. I've had enough. Where did you say they were hiding? In a large semicircular warehouse on the side of the river. It's quite nearby. Very convenient. They are all done for. I'll crush these ones today and the rest of them tomorrow. Let Grief breathe for now. He must be in a panic himself. We shall see in 2 days. So you haven't asked about the river yet? I'm going to now. So I've done this Grief a favour. Haven't I, Father? Cool, so Sabarov has more nice thing to say about Wolf than about his own daughter. Yeah, I was about to point out something similar, that Sabarov is full of praise for Wolf, but doesn't even really seem to know what to say to Clara at the best of times beyond go out there and do my bidding, which, to be honest, is probably like Wolf probably got the same level of treatment. He probably was just being bossed around by Sabarov the whole time. Just sort of being, but the fact that you're treating your subordinate guard captain as on the same level as your daughter, yeah. See how straight Wolf's lines are? Look at the softness of his lighting. You've got a lot to work on, kid. You call that art? Very disappointed in you. You know, he's supposed to throw where I'm going to be, not where I am, but I appreciate your efforts. Impeccable. Impeccable combat. I don't even know why the enemies try. I feel like the moment someone like causes like blood to like spray out of me just by like waving in my direction, I feel like I'm going to try and like get away, you know? But these salesmen, you know, they're the best of the best. They're not going to quit that easily. Here we go again. Cool, raking in the cash. Let's go watch the play before we go see Bad Grief. And then we'll play a bit more and we'll see if there are any side quests today, but otherwise we'll just try and go forward to day 5, which is where I'll start the next stream from, I imagine. But yeah, we'll see if we can mine anything else out of this day. And we got a letter from myself, or so we think. I know why they call me a thief. That's how they name anyone who is hiding from the law. This is our worst enemy, the law. As merciless, cruel, and unrighteous as it is, the law thinks nothing of whatever falls between the arms of its scale. The law does not believe in anything that falls in between the black and the white. The law is impossible to appease. Its motion is heavy and devastating. For the time being, you have escaped its all-seeing eye. You were thinking, perhaps, that it won't find you here? That's how it was for a long time. As of today, however, everything has changed. When my trace is uncovered, is my miraculous power not enough to hide myself? I do like these recurring letters from Clara's twin. It makes it feel like, yeah, someone else is sort of watching over your shoulder the whole time. Other than everyone who's currently watching this right now.
So,
Here we go.
From dead bodies, disappearing from corpses without a trace. It's been established that you can outweight it if you're careful and discreet. The glass will keep the best, as it's supposed to.
what does it mean?
It means we have a fighting chance. The infectious agent only sticks to living matter and is repelled by dead surfaces. Those who remain indoors are more likely to survive. Scurrying and making a fuss means death. All in all, we can fight.
You self-serving jerk. You've got your own agenda, haven't you? You're always up for a fight. You just need an adversary. What about the people?
Hush, don't you get in his way. He seems to have a plan.
It's all wrong. It's no good at all.
Oh, I love that purple suit. Damn, just the briefest of glimpses of that amazing Mark outfit. Does Mark have anything to say to me today? Probably not.
Yes.
You're bothering me. I want to be alone. And this response I find priceless every time. Bothering you, that's odd. As though, you know, like, Clara's like, how could I be bothering you? I'm like, I'm the best person ever. I never annoy anyone with my presence. This is outrageous. Anyone could find me annoying. What could there be inside such a monstrosity? I find it unbelievable that it's still standing at all. I never let my children enter the damn thing. Ever. You mean the polyhedron? Why wouldn't you take the children's word for that? Are you so sure that you're smarter than they are? No wonder they call you deranged. What's next? You gonna suggest we all fall on our knees and worship it or something? This is pointless. I'm not going to waste time bashing my head against a brick wall. See, that's why you're so well liked, Clara. You respond thoughtfully to everybody. Alright. Back to Bad Grief we go. After we do some more rifling through trash cans. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. This rain sound is the best in video games. And I can't explain why. Yeah, you disagree with me, that's odd. I thought mine was the correct opinion. And yours was the incorrect one. I thought we all agreed on that. Nice try, buddy. Might have killed that drunk, but you're no match for my healing hands. Ah, good, and he didn't have time to loot him, so I can get his bandage without giving away my precious, precious water bottles. At least that guy managed to sell a knife to someone before he died. Yeah. He didn't even get a chance. You know, he really showed it off. The drunk was impressed. He was. One might even say he was bowled over by the sales pitch. But unfortunately, I had to seal the deal myself. Couldn't let the deal go through. I needed the knife more. The sales pitch, yeah. It's up close and personal demonstration of the item in question. Catch this knife. Oh wow, look how sharp it is. That guy's lying in a sales ditch now. Can we give everyone round of applause? Come on. That was pretty good. Come on. Nice try. All about the terrible puns. Here, come on. Alright, I'm back. Killed quite a few people in the time that I've been gone. But it's nice to see you again. I did you a big favor.
A spooky fella, that bachelor. The remedy worse than the disease itself. He'd swallow us whole.
You keep saying that. Oh, you'd be lucky if you could get that guy to perform at your son's wedding. I don't know. I hear he's pretty busy. Things I had to suffer through because of you, the knots I had to tie myself in. Don't you get all metaphorical on me, though the metaphor's clear, ain't it? You're alive, so that means the plan's worked out alright, eh? Am I right? I stole the severed head from Bali and I took it to Sabarov. He won't go after you. Today. Go after me? He and whose army? Or do you think he'd turn up in person, getting his hands all muddy and dirty? Like hell. Or was he going to send you with some stamped piece of paper? Heh. Oh, you thief, you. Well, a bargain's a bargain. It's question time. I've got 3. Sure, go on. What do you want to know? Just do me a favour and skip the mumbo-jumbo part. Alright, tell me, was Olgimsky acting in collusion with you? It depends. Which one? There's more than one Olgimsky, you know. Heh. One might have and the other one might not have. That's why you can't bring them down. One hand takes and the other gives. The right hand floggeth and the left hand caresseth. Heh. There's your answer. Griff, were you aware of the coming epidemic? Well, we did figure it out, eventually. You see, black twirine had been used as a medicine during the first outbreak, and this time around the trade got really hectic and all. But those who'd ordered it must have known, probably as far back as summer. Heh. And? Who had ordered it? You know the answer. Who were you just asking about? The elder or the younger? That's it, question time's over. 2 Olgimskis for the price of one was already stretching it. Wait a minute, there's something I don't understand. Like you ever would, little pimple. That's it, enough questions. Gonna grab some rest now, I'm really tired. You go away, nothing for you to see here anymore. What? You like my answers, didn't you? Or you tot? Heh. You regret this, Grief. This is not the right way to talk to them. I was confused. Mistakes were made. So I was curious to try that one out. But yeah, I can just reload and try that again. Because it is interesting that they did build this whole other dialogue tree for that. Yep, I am going to do it. Yeah, I saved there for a reason. I wanted to see both sides of the conversation because I find it interesting.
That bachelor. The remedy worse than the disease itself. He'd swallow us whole.
Let's say to tie myself in, stole it, bargain's a bargain. And now of you this, you are the real ringleaders of the killers. Will you agree to touch me? To brave the depths, to answer my questions candidly without prejudice. Yeah, I'm the real boss. I was lucky Bali came along at the right time. Let me cover my tracks and shift the blame and get off scot-free. Bachelor never got my number. What do you need it all for? For 'tis my soul's desire, this killin' urge. It's just that my hand was itching for some jolly fun time. Now tell me about the old Gimskis. Have they been protecting your shady business? Fat Vlad's the real man. 'Tis he who's running the market. The young one's clueless. It was he that ordered the black twirine too. His own doing. And the final question, Grief. Where exactly did you jump the bodies into the river? That wasn't us. I know the whole chant with them stiffs. That was the worms from the cemetery, and I got the blame. I know nothing. 'Tis not my scope of murder, not my style, I swear to God. Poisoning all the water, that's just gruesome. It's not for you to judge, after all that I've found out. A blow with a big blunt stick in a dark alley, that's nice and clean it is, especially when it's not from behind. With a knife, there's even a bit of gallantry in it, especially when it's not your own knife. What do we look like on the inside, eh? What do you think? No one wants to drag that out in the open. That'd be scary. That'd be giving away the secret. What's secret? That's the point. I've no idea. I'll put a stop to it, I will. Just don't get me killed, little tot. I'll be useful to you yet. I've asked my questions, Grief. Come too. Cool, so that went a bit better that time when we actually follow through with the actual protocol that we were supposed to follow with Clara's little incantation. Oh yeah, hitting someone in the back of the head with a big stick or stabbing him with a knife and seeing what's on the inside is got some gallantry to it, apparently, according to Bad Grief. And I quite like, seeing the more... He's clearly more of a sordid character in this one. Whereas in the second one, we don't really get to see very much of that aspect of his personality. But I'm hoping we get to see a bit more of that kind of thing later, because, Clara's campaign makes all of these characters just so... These characters who we didn't really understand before. So much more fleshed out and interesting just with these daily quests that are like dedicated to them. I think it's actually a really good way of setting up the campaign, I think, to deal with that kind of thing. Yeah, it's just a shame that the side quests and stuff sort of feel kind of rushed, and the quests don't feel quite as long as they could be, but they're still like interesting from start to finish. They just feel a bit shorter, or a bit less interesting mechanically. But then again, this quest we did get to fight Barley and his two little rat thugs, which I thought was good. Back to full reputation again. We're going to tank our reputation again by saying that Grief didn't do it. Because he didn't. I swear he sounds possessed when he responds to you after you say it. When you choose to avoid the incantation, I swear that's the real him, and the other is some weird Clara power. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, you get this real shift in the way that he talks. The other one, he's very confident and sort of in control of the conversation. He's like, oh, well, but which Olgimski did I mean? But the other one, he's very, he's overly forthcoming, and almost feels kind of like a frightened character, right? I think that's a really good point. Very very worthwhile to point that out.
I will restore the order here, rest assured.
I found out a lot more about Grief than I'd care to know. What is it? Speak. I don't even know where to begin. Begin with the Olgimskis. That is the most important sin for me, and the least for him, for it is not his fault. So did Olgimski protect his illicit trade? Did he benefit from it? He didn't just benefit. He presided over it. Grief was his stooge. Now then, we shall skip the issue of the Barber gang, since it's clear now who their true mastermind was. Thanks to your courage, my brave girl. Finally, some support. Don't skip it just yet. Barley was as much a puppet in Grief's hands as Grief himself was for Olgimski. Everyone has their toys. I was beginning to regret my bias. It seems I shouldn't have. Well, that settles it. Aren't you interested to know what my verdict is? Whether Grief is the cause of the disaster that struck us? Well, is he the cause of the disaster? What's your verdict? No, it's not him. He's not to blame for the disaster that struck your town, our town. Well, hearing not guilty verdicts from you is troubling. Hope it doesn't lead to something bad, huh? What can I do? I can't tell a lie. Such is my nature. And that didn't do very much damage to our reputation at all. Cool. Wouldn't be fair to lay the blame on Bad Grief. True, the man has a rotten soul, selling his damn stock the way he always did. Who knows if he was even fully aware of the terror that would follow. He feels guilty, no doubt, and I can hardly think of anything more precious than when a man like this embraces repentance. I must let him live. He will be of use to me yet. I like, Clara's really approaching this kind of thing in what feels like utilitarian terms, It's sort of like, oh, you'll prove to be useful, And the threat that you can drop, that I kind of liked that Barley just sort of laughed at to start with, that, I am death, like, don't mess with me, and then he laughs at you, calls you a cockroach, and then all of a sudden he falls for your little trick. He's like, oh, you're like, oh, look, there's something in the corner. And he's like, oh, okay, sure. I believe you. If you had labelled him guilty, the ending slide reveals this MLM business was shut down following the NCR's victory at Hoover Dam. But what happens if Mr. House wins? That's what I want to know. I think Mr. House was the last one of the endings. No, the Legion was, I think, actually. I think I tried NCR first, then Yes Man, then Mr. House, then Legion, if I remember correctly. It was a long time ago now since I've done a full playthrough of that game. And that was another thing I started playing but never got back to. Mainly because of that glitch, to be fair, or that prolonged period of the game where I was seemingly stuck in that dialogue tree. The Mr. House ending escalates the business to blockchain technology. Damn. Yeah, that's evil stuff. Ow. Knife NFTs. Twirene NFTs. Can't wait. Not even real knives anymore. What can I do? Yeah, I might finish up soonish actually, but what I will do, I'll go to Clara's, no, not Capella's house, sleep until maybe I get a side quest, do a bit of that, and then we'll see what happens. If I get anything. Otherwise, I'll just skip ahead to the next day. Okay. So what's that? 3 hours? Cool. The powers of the bee are getting increasingly worried. Total death toll 228. Currently infected 58 people. Day 4, by the end of which it becomes apparent to the Changeling that someone is twisting her good deeds. Okay, did I get a letter or anything? Nope, not yet. I guess if I didn't get a letter, I'll just go back to sleep. But I'll take a painkiller this time. Morphine is the better one, right? Painkiller rather than a sleeping drought. Yeah, that's the one I want. Okay, sleep for 4 hours, sleep to midday. And at a certain level in the fiction, even those low-level painkillers don't work anymore, which I thought was a nice touch. Letter. Alexander is waiting. Every day, either me or my wife will have an errand for you, be at hand. Yeah, sure. Lara's request. If you are truly a saint, you shouldn't refuse a request as humane as mine. Let me save the life of someone who is equally as persecuted as you are. Okay, we'll go see Lara first. See what we can do. So I'll go for another 15-20 minutes, I imagine. And then I should be off. But it's been nice to actually have some energy and be able to stream Pathologic again for the first time in a while. And then yeah, in a couple of days' time, hopefully there'll be some more insane Yakuza in store. And then when I finish that, there's a long list of horror games that we're gonna go through, and most of the experience blind. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But there's a lot of things that are installed and ready to go. Just waiting to clear my plate first before I get greedy and start anything else. Just leave these bins over here. Thank you. Is this person selling anything? Such good music, isn't it, this one? Cool, I'll take that. Need your lemon today. I already have... How many lemons do I have? 8. That's more than enough lemons, I think. More than enough. Okay, and yeah, we'll see what Lara has to offer us. Can't say I remember this quest personally, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe she has a Shimada. We can't discount that. I probably don't even have enough to trade for a Shmouter, to be honest. That'll probably be what I discover. How about we trade? Oh no, I would. They're only 10 and I've got more than enough stuff. Just no one's carrying any Shmouters, unfortunately. Okay. See what we can do here for you, Lara. Hello.
A stranger brought me a peculiar vial today.
You walk everywhere, afraid of nothing, and I need your help again. Would you agree to do something for me? What is it? There's a manhunt going on for young Buruk. It appears that your patron, Alexander, is behind it, but he's unfair towards Buruk. Why? The Haruspex doesn't just chop up the dead for his own amusement. He's trying to create a panacea. Please find out what's happening and stop Alexander's punishing hand. He's blinded. Alright, I'll help him. I'll reward you if you help the Haruspex. I haven't done anything yet. Alexander's vengeful hand has to be stopped, for he is blind. Cool, okay, so we got that mission. Wander over there now. Do that, see what Alexander has to say. Whether we can pull any Severov apology out of our hats or not. Whether we're in a charitable mood. We'll see. Okay. There's a lot to be said about a good skybox in a game too, isn't there? Something that feels authentically all-encompassing and matches the art style of the actual game world around you. And this one, certainly does that. I mean, it's hard to think of, more evocative images than this kind of thing here. Just a grey sky, leaves drifting everywhere. Sort of the misty tower of this strange mansion. Yeah. Really, evokes the sublime. We should probably go see Katerina as well. I don't think we've seen her in a while. She probably has something she urgently wants to tell us. Hello.
Shh. Did you hear that?
That was me opening the door. It's alright. The events are unfolding too fast, but we must continue to act. There is no time to waste. Now I know for certain that it was them, the Utopians. Someone from among them, or the entire lot. You must wrestle people out of their camp, one at a time. I'm ready. Today we shall strike where they don't expect us to. You will talk to Mark Immortel. He is the director at the theatre who stages prophetic mime performances with his masks. Some time ago he staged a performance about the death of King Kuron. He knew Simon would die. How am I to speak to him? I don't know any of his secrets. It won't be the way it was yesterday, more like the day before yesterday, perhaps. Perhaps he is with us already. Perhaps he is himself preparing the Utopians, albeit in his own way, and you find out what he is up to. Did you say he's a theatre director? Could he by chance have any connections with the caravan? He's been living here for a long time. I don't know, but he's never taken an interest in children, wouldn't even notice them, even banned them from attending his performances. No, it's not that. So he's not that wicked, but then what do you need him for? This is almost too important for me. I've had a prophetic dream in which the Bachelor was going to turn the theatre into a leper colony. Just let Mark Immortel know about this. Let him find a way to stop it. I need the theatre badly. We need it. I can feel it. How is he going to stop it? What does it matter? He can make the building unusable for the Bachelor's purposes. It's important that I should keep it, for purposes of my own. I can sense that my powers of prophecy have to do with that place. The masks and their soothsaying must be involved too. Who could help me? Maria knows. She is the only one who can influence him. I think he is one of her suitors. It's so weird having Mark be involved in the town politics after you've played Pathologic 2 and going back to this one, and having him actually be a figure in town who sort of has distinct interactions with people, or is told to have distinct interactions with people, whereas in 2 I struggle to remember if there is a scene or even a bit of dialogue like that. No one except Maria knows how to get to Mark, but don't you go to her. You're not strong enough to take her on yet. Think of something. Alright, Mother. I'll do what you're asking me to do. This is where Mark Immortel, a person of dubious allegiance, works. He is respected by the Utopians. I need to come to know his way of thinking. Cool, so we're gonna mark related quests, so we'll probably do that one next time. We'll see if we can convince beloved father over this side of the rod that he should probably leave the Haruspecs alone.
They say Haruspecs is killing marauders now. Good.
They say you're hunting down the Haruspecs, as you say. Is that true? Yes, and it's good that you've mentioned it. Why? Because I've decided today shall see the end of any and all killers who use scalpels, razors, knives, barber scissors, or any other manner of blades. The epidemic mowing down human lives is bad enough on its own. The streets will be safe, in daytime as well as at night time. The Haruspecs is not one to get caught easily. The executors just reported he was seen in an infected district, very close to the works as it happens. He's scouring through abandoned houses, looting obviously. We could lure him into an ambush. You could, he corrects himself, yeah. I'll just stand here in my house, looking important. Why don't you seize him if you know where he is? The patrolmen are afraid of getting infected, and I don't trust the executors. You, on the other hand, don't have to fear the infection. He says to me as she coughs blood on her shoes, tell him that Reuben is waiting for him back home. The bachelor said that the Haruspecs was very eager to ask him some questions concerning some mystery to do with dead flesh. And he's in one of the infected houses. Be quick. This will be more proof that you stand on the side of the law. I prove it incessantly every day. Haruspecs is hiding in one of the infected buildings in this district. Okay. Have a quick look around for him for a minute. Have some stuff. Eat. Might need to buy another thing of antibiotics from the drugstore over here. But yep, I'll be off soonish, but we'll be able to do a couple of things before then. Gamma tablets. No, I want this. Thank you. Sorry, I coughed all over your floor, but you'll be fine. No harm, no foul. The disease was just here, you'll be fine. No, that's how I take all my medicine. Just as soon as I've imbibed it, just hacking coughs. Just because, medicine's gross, Okay. See if we can find him today. I don't like my chances, but we'll see. Just going to pop our heads into a couple of houses here. See if we can spot him. I don't know. Hello there, child. Do you have anything to trade? Some pills there. Yep, I'll take that. Doesn't hurt to have some more of that on hand. Which district was it? The factory district. So one of these houses. So theoretically there's not actually that many houses here to go through. So hopefully we can find him. And just be like, what are you doing? And he'll be like, oh, I'm trying to, make a panacea. And you'll be like, oh, I already knew that. Why didn't I just tell Saburov that in the first place? And he'll be like, I don't know. And we'll both just sort of stare at each other emptily for a few seconds. Okay. Just gonna do the poke my head in, see if they're in the immediate doorway like the bachelor was. But let me see the... Yes, 10 lemons. Awesome. 10 plague-ridden lemons. Clara is a lucky person. Okay. Doesn't appear to be in here, does he? It's hard to tell. Sometimes they spawn like in the upper areas of a house, and other times they're just like there at the front door. Which I guess is probably the point, they want to make it difficult. Was that him? Yes. Hello. I'm sick of you already. Why won't you stop interrupting my work? Get lost. You bring me bad luck. I just wanted to say that there's an ambush laid out for you, actually, so don't go home today. Really? Who laid it? Oh, that turned you around quick, didn't it? Alexander Sabarov, my adoptive father, detests you, and then you can sort of say, I share the sentiment, but for no good reason, I'd say. Thank you. What was your name again? Clara. You're welcome. I have won the Haruspecs. Clara will rejoice at the news. Okay, so let's go back. Let's see Lara, and then we'll finish the stream there, I reckon. Thanks, Otto Dong. Hope you have a good night as well. It's great to have you here. Hope you enjoyed. Really appreciate it. Hope to see you next time. Alright. Let's head back. Do a few trades along the way, right? Let's see if they got anything. Nope. Don't need to trade away all my needles. I'm just hoping to find one schmouder. One schmouder. Bad luck this playthrough. If I had the Bachelor in my last playthrough, I was already swimming in schmouders, relatively, by this time. And next time, yeah, we'll start off completely unrelated to the stream. Somehow I just found out there's Pathologic modding wiki. Looks like there's a lot of reading ahead for me. Yeah, I've read about Pathologic, like texture swaps and that kind of thing. But I know very little about if there are any more sincere modding overhauls. If there are, I'd certainly be curious, especially if there was a way to add text, or do your own stories and that kind of thing within it. Because it's a be good framework. Working on a rebalancing mod. Excited to try it next time you play. So rebalancing of the original would be very cool. Rebalancing it to make it more difficult, obviously, to give it a stricter, less predictable rhythm. A mod for one, which calls itself an overhaul. Texture and sound replacer last I checked. Yeah, and I don't know why anyone would want to replace either of those things, to be perfectly honest. The texture and the textures and the sounds sort of feel like the part of the game. If you were to mod anything, I don't know why you'd change that. But then again, I'd have very little cause to actually improve anything about this game. Still, my favorite game. But yeah, I should probably also look into that myself. Far too much stuff to do. Far too much stuff to do. Changes the rate of survival meters, combat, abandoned houses, etc. Yeah, I would be interested to try that. Maybe after I've done Artemis campaign and on stream, I could play around with a rebalancing mod and sort of we could discuss what changes it makes and that kind of thing. Because there's no reason I'd stop streaming it if there was still stuff to talk about. Hello, Lara. I'm worried. Perhaps it's not too late to fix things yet. I've warned Burak. You did everything right, Clara. Take this gift. It's modest, but it will be useful to you in these difficult times. Thank you. Speaking of mods, this is a weird one, but has anyone ever heard of the Smooth Grief mod? I have not. No. Is that something we should have heard about, or something we should be worried about? It sounds like something maybe we should be concerned about. Smooth grief. Amazing that this, almost any game that's even halfway popular will have a group of people dedicated to figuring out how it works and modding it. I think that's another extraordinary trait of humanity. Yeah, it's really very nice. Executors waiting outside to welcome me. Already made it into a leper house, have they? It's a mod which makes Bad Grief's face smooth, so definitely something to be concerned about. Labels itself as law compliant somehow, which has always fascinated me, but I somehow never tried it yet. Okay. Yeah, I am very concerned. Very concerned. Give me a sec. I'll see if I can I bring it up? And then we can end with smooth grief if I can find him. Give me a second. My favorite mod for Classic that restores older fog and renders settings, making the sky colors a lot more vibrant. We love how it makes the game look. Do you happen to have the name of that one? Because I would like to know that. Cool. This. It's part of Smooth Grief Sunday and was apparently designed as an anniversary celebration of that. Great lore already. Alright, give me just a second here. Hopefully this, can we get this to display? I don't know if we can. Hang on, give me just a second. Cool, alright. That's the Sky one. Thank you, BlueVoices. I appreciate that.